better. So this is Nick. He was here before, just in case you didn't see him perform. And we'll do something small, and then I'll introduce myself. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. He was 9 years old. A young boy that looked up to his big brother and was always at his tail everywhere he went. His older brother was the only male role model he had, and having no father around because he left, you can imagine how he felt. He was 9 years old. When he first saw drugs and money exchange hands, and with it came the fast life of women and cars, parties and drugs, hustle and guns, he was 9 years old. When the cops put a target on his brother's gang, Big Brother wasn't in it for the long run. He had a plan. Make enough cash to get his family out of the slums. Make cash, sell dope. Big cash, repeat mode. Cycles, manning territory, and he still had to do it with this 9-year-old at his back. Designated babysitter. He didn't mind because he loved his brother, but he paid it bitter. Cops passed the hideout. Everyone scatters left and right. Bullets flying mighty high, and with 6 bullets to his chest and 3 at his back, he died. That day, a mother lost 2 of his sons. One to the grave and one to the law. But damn, he was just 9 years old.
This life is not your own, and you're not in control. When you come from the places I come from, they say this life is not your own. They say this life is not your own.
This life is not your own,
and you're not in control.
and you're not in control.
When you come from the places I come from,
the hood.
I say this life is not your own, not your own.
He was 19, just finished high school. A little chance to get out of his miseries. He walked his talk, he fought his wars. He was tired of seeing his mother cry every time she lost a job. He didn't want to enter no gangs, do no drags. He wanted out the right way, no strings attached. So he decided to look for a job, anything that could help his situation. I should let you know that he had dreadlocks. Call it intuition. He wanted, after the struggle and the hustle is over, he could be an artist, dance hall to be specific. So the hustling and the grinding begins. The learning and the struggling persists. But he still puts his chin up because that's how kings are built. One fateful night at 9 p.m., a woman was robbed at gunpoint 5 minutes away from where this 19-year-old boy was. And the only thing she could remember was that the person who robbed her had dreadlocks. So as the mob chased and this thief raced past this 19-year-old, guess who the mob caught instead? His life ended in between 2 tires and a liter of gasoline, burning up in flames, pleading to a mercy that wanted justice with rage, but dang. The only mistake this 19-year-old boy had was having dreadlocks.
Say this life is not your own,
This life is not your own,
and you're not in control.
and you're not in control.
When you come from the places I come from,
The hood.
they say this life is not your own. I say this life is not your own,
This life is not your own,
and you're not in control. 'Cause when you come from the places I come from.
I come from the hood.
They say this life
I
is
come
not
from
your
the
own.
Too many boys killed in the streets. Too many targeted for crimes they didn't commit. We believe in you. We see you. We see you. For this next piece, if there's anyone who's in the same space, I hope that we all find healing. Dear God, it's been a while. And if there's anything our relationship reminds me of, it's the relationship between me and my father, and in two words, it can be described as distant and formal. I acknowledge that you are God. I acknowledge that you exist the same way I acknowledge my father being my father, but that's just it. That's just a title I feel you have but don't truly deserve the day you decided to walk out that door, abandon us and go live your life the way you wished. The day you decided to walk out that door and never look back, as if my mother and my 3 other siblings didn't mean a thing. We saw you a couple of times with your other wife and your other kids. How you cruised around in your lavish car, lavish clothes, and had lavish retreats. Were we not good enough for you? I've asked this question a couple of times every time I had to cry myself to sleep. That maybe if I got good grades, became a good girl, did good things, maybe you'd come back, maybe you'd realize your mistake. You didn't. I should let you know that as a 10-year-old, I witnessed a couple of things. I witnessed mom's depression and how she'd continuously lock herself in her room for days with no sleep. I witnessed her anxiety attacks every time we weren't able to keep up with the bills, how we sometimes lacked food, lacked necessities, and got kicked out of school because of fees. I've seen my mother cry. There's some things in life that shake the very core of your existence. I've seen my mother cry on bended knees, repenting for mistakes she never did. How she kept her ring and how that ring signified her dignity. Is it the pain? Is it the shame? Is it the burden? Is it the need to be wanted or parted? Is it the praise or how we unwanted? I wonder why every single time I come before your presence, God, I feel unworthy, because you and Dad have a perfect way of making me feel this way. I've seen my mother almost die. I guess at this point she was just tired of fighting, tired of struggling, tired of wishing, of patience, of praying. God, we were patient, and it's been 15 years down the line. Where have you been? The 2 most important men in my life have been inconsistent when all I'm asking for is presence. Where have you been? I notice how my dad tries to come back to our lives like we never left, and how we swallow our bitter past under silent breaths. How I'm supposed to be the bigger person, to heal, to mend broken relationships, to bridge the gap in between, like it's my fault to begin with. For once, can I be allowed to be a child? For once, can he come to me? For once, can he admit his mistakes? For once, will you come to me, God, when I'm down, when I'm trodden, when I'm tired of the chase and the games? Will you come to me? And I know he tries. He tries to call and I don't pick up. And sometimes in the middle of conversations, I catch the call because I'm in pain and it still hurts. Call it karma for the days we used to call him and he wouldn't pick up. Call it karma for the days when we were locked outside of the house and he was in South Africa. Do you remember, God? Do you remember when we were the laughingstock? Do you remember when we were the black sheep on the chopping board? How when no one wanted to be with us or associate with us because our social class was a little bit too low? Do you remember? Do you remember when you and I met? It was perfect. I thought we would last, but I guess true love is for the chosen. Do you understand how when I see you, I see him, and when I see him, I see you? Do you, God?